Most conservative cable news pundits know that you have to talk and negotiate with Trump like you're communicating with a 3-year-old. He likes to throw temper tantrums. He likes participation trophies. And so even though Trump has completely bungled the response to coronavirus, leading to the deaths of 250,000 Americans, Geraldo is proposing a participation trophy anyway. Let's watch.
I think I had an idea, when with the world so divided and everybody, telling him he's got to give up and time to leave and time to transition and all the rest of it. Why not name the vaccine the Trump? Make it like, have you gotten your Trump yet? No, it'd be a nice gesture to him. And years from now, it would become just a kind of a generic name. Have you got your Trump yet? Oh, yeah, I got my Trump, I'm fine. I wish we could honor him in that way because he is definitely the prime architect of this Operation Warp Speed. And but for him, we'd still be waiting, into the grim winter for these amazing, miraculous medical breakthroughs.
So Aida, we want people to actually take the vaccine, obviously after it goes through FDA approval and all of that. And so maybe naming it Trump isn't the best way to go about it. Like, no, I don't want to take my Trump. Like, that's disgusting. But anyway, I don't want to speak for you. Maybe you feel differently about it.
I'm in awe. Like, first of all, Donald Trump has not been the architect of a damn thing. He ain't architect nothing ever in his life. So to say that he is the great architect. Secondly, it is like the little chubby kid from Willy Wonka. They know how much of a petulant child he is, and they want to appease him. And they're like, and the way that he says it, it's just like he says this with a smile on his face and still licking his boots. And he's like, guys, listen, guys, we should definitely, give him some more chocolate so he doesn't blow. It is unbelievable. This is the president of the United States. Go home already, man.
I know. It's amazing. Like, it's amazing how everything that conservatives have criticized liberals for, right? Safe spaces, participation trophies, all of that. They all want those things, right? Twitter's mean because they fact check sometimes. We're gonna go to Parler instead. We need our safe space. And in this case, it's like, okay, Donald, okay, well, you did good, 250,000 Americans are dead and more are dying every day. But hey, here's a participation trophy for Operation Warp Speed, which, I did talk about a little bit this week, Aida, but I do think it's important to discuss the funding for Operation Warp Speed because Trump did not unilaterally implement this policy. Congress appropriated the funding for it. And from what it appears, the effort looks to be pretty good at the moment, based on what we're hearing about the 2 vaccines that have shown positive signs during the trials that they've done. So I want to go into more detail about it because I think it's important for people to know these details, know what kind of funding was involved, and how this is going to impact the distribution of the vaccines. I should note that Pfizer has applied for emergency use authorization from the FDA, and if the FDA approves it for emergency use authorization, some people could be given the vaccine as early as 3 weeks from now. So we'll update you guys as we learn more about that, but that's where we are right now with vaccines. But some more information on Operation Warp Speed. As Business Insider writes, Warp Speed awarded Moderna $955 million to advance its clinical trials and another $1.5 billion to manufacture and deliver 100 million vaccine doses. Pfizer's contract is different, as I mentioned earlier this week. The company received 1.95 billion to manufacture and distribute 100 million doses, but it did not accept funding for research or development. Now, once the vaccine is approved, Operation Warp Speed will help to distribute and deliver doses through a contract with McKesson Corporation. That's the nation's largest distributor of flu shots. Pfizer, though, has opted to use its own delivery system centered in Michigan and Wisconsin. So just a little background on that. The difference between the Pfizer vaccine and the Moderna vaccine is that Pfizer's version would need to be stored in extremely cold temperatures. And so there's a little bit of an issue with distributing that because you need like special freezers for it. You need to make sure that the various doctors' offices or Walgreens, CVS, all of that they have the proper freezers to store these vaccines. So there's a little bit of an issue there. Moderna, though, apparently does not need to be stored in temperatures as low. So most pharmacies, most places have the freezer necessary to store Moderna's version of the vaccine. So that might play a role into the distribution differences here. I know I'm getting like super specific and detailed, but these are important facts for you guys to know. Most of Warp Speed's budget, around $10 billion, came from congressional funds awarded in the spring, according to Health and Human Services. But a September Bloomberg investigation found that the Trump administration siphoned additional funds to Warp Speed that were meant for other public health programs. That included $6 billion from the Strategic National Stockpile, which, as you guys can remember, was just not up to par, and they were not prepared in that stockpile for this pandemic, and $1 billion from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. So he skimmed money from other government agencies and other public health efforts in order to fund this program. But from what we've seen so far, it looks to be somewhat successful. But let's not forget about Trump's conspiracies. He thinks that both Pfizer and Moderna held on to information about their successful trials until after the election to screw him. And he's been spreading that conspiracy theory like all over the place. He's a child.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.